Good morning. Good morning from the Yarn Closet at Tucson, Arizona. That did not help. That does help a little. Does it help a little? I don't know. I can't actually tell. I can't tell. So tired already this morning. It's Tuesday. One of the kids had yesterday off. Then the kid who went back to school today was coughing. Oh, let me get to this. I am Laura. My mom, Kitty, had eye surgery yesterday. I am Yarn Closet AZ on Instagram and The Yarn Closet over on Patreon. Go to Patreon. Follow me for free. Download free patterns over there. I have crochet, knitting, and loom knitting patterns uploading fairly regularly. So I just wanted to podcast pretty quickly. I don't know if Mom and I are going to get something out this month or not, or maybe during the Thanksgiving break, maybe. It's been a rough one. Yes, it was just a laser surgery, but it seems like illness is hitting pretty strong right now here in the schools. And it just is difficult for us to get together, even for short periods of time, an hour and a half to podcast. She's doing great on the round looms. She got the KB round loom on a stand that also spins and has adjusters so you can put other looms on it. She's thrilled. She's doing really good. And I'm sorry if the wind chimes bother you. We got them as a reminder of my mother-in-law who passed away on my daughter's birthday last year. But I really, my initial goal in doing this quick podcast this week is just to touch base. I'd like to do weekly podcasts. And honestly, I like to talk about what I'm doing with my knitting and my crochet and stuff because I don't have people here to talk about face to face. I can't get to the one knit night thing in my town. Have you tried this decaf, this Pete's decaf? Since I went decaf and took caffeine out of my diet, I have been sleeping much better. But this decaf doesn't taste like decaf. I mean, it is rich and full-bodied, and oh my gosh, we are addicted. And then you want to drink a ton of coffee because it's decaf. The trick is there's still a smidge of caffeine in it, and it's still a diuretic. 10:45. Okay. Do you want to go to his house or stay here? You can decide when they get here. Okay. So, I managed to post some patterns over on the Patreon. I managed to get a little bit further on this knitting pattern, which is a takeoff on Grandma's dishcloth, but not in dishcloth. See how I'm knitting them together as I go? And I'm doing strips. Here's the second strip. It's going to be a small baby size, and then, of course, I grab a cake to do the single, and I'm not going to have enough yarn to finish this, and I don't want to have to weave in an end, so I'm just going to start over. Good gravy, Batman, right? So I'm working on that. My goal last weekend with the 3-day holiday weekend was to try to get some things done. I've managed to get some organization done. Survived the play date of the 2 4-year-olds, screaming Mimis, as I like to call them. And I wanted to finish this very small cowl. I'm trying to see if I like a cowl that fits more like just a turtleneck when I need a turtleneck but don't have one. And the orange is done very kind of loosely. These are on 6s, so that there's a little bit more airflow. and it does have alpaca in it, so it's warm. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I think I'll have it finished in the next day or two, so you'll probably see it again. And then you may have seen on my Instagram this. Okay. People, I actually swatched. And I did 2 different needle sizes, and I got gauge. So I got gauge. So I cast on what they said to cast on. And yes, I can get this over my head, and yes, in blocking it will block out, but I don't think this is going to be quite the neckline I wanted, okay? And then as I was going through, and it's another one of those Lion brand free raglan cardigans, short, that they have, although I'm not going to do mine short. I don't like short. And I was doing it with, I'm doing it in the round. It's written flat. I'm doing it in the round. So I was doing yarn over increases. I mean, people, I made out a template. I figured out my whole pattern. I figured out, you know, that every other row has to be just a plain knit row. But I don't know why I couldn't keep track of it. And yes, this is a darker color, and that's harder for me. But I thought, well, that's a stinker. So I tinked back all the way to the end of the ribbing. Got it on. You know, it's going to go over my head. It's just going to be a tighter neckline. I'm not entirely sure that I'm upset about that. But then I started doing knit front, back slip increases. Because I wanted to see, like, what's that line going to look like in the raglan? What's that line going to look like? In some places it looks just fine, and then other places it doesn't look just fine because the way I picked up seems to have left a couple of holes. But then this one spot, it's like, dude, what happened there? So yes, this is not going to end up being the Lion brand free pattern, but it's going to be a jumping off point. I think I'm going to tink it all the way back because I have just enough yarn with maybe some additional colored yarn in for a pop to do this for me in a short sleeve, but I want the sleeve to be slightly bigger and come down a little bit more. I'm not sure that's going to work in the raglan construction without doing some short rows on the top, and I'm not a short row person, so we'll see how that works. Maybe in my last few rows of raglan, I will keep increasing on the body and the back, but I will decrease here. I don't know, we'll have to see. I'll be trying this one on a lot as we go. So this is not going to blast off my needles as fast as I wanted. And yeah, I'm going to have to tink it all the way back. And I'm going to have to come up with some different numbers. Because even though I did the stinking swatch, oops, knocked you over. I did the stinking swatch. I did it the correct way. I did it until I got gauge. So because my needle is different than what it said, I know that my yarn consumption is going to be different. However, I know that, yeah, now my little setup is going to be a little wonky. It's going to be wonky. It's going to be different, people. It's going to be different. It's going to be wonky. It's going to be way wonky. This is a 15-minute podcast. I mean, get over it. How wonderful do you want it to be for 15 minutes? I'll try to bend down like this, maybe. I don't know how I had it just perfectly set up. Ooh, maybe I can use yarn. Do you think I could use yarn? No, that's not going to work. Yarn does not work for everything. So anyway, we're We're gonna just be close today. We're just gonna be close. I did the swatching. I did the gauging on the swatch. And, you know, and I pinned it down and everything. I mean, that was, used a magnifying glass. I mean, I was reading. I was on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in my knitting, if I'm getting 6 stitches to the inch, it's 12 to 2 inches. It's 24 to 4 inches. It wanted to have an 18 stitch. It was supposed to have an 18 stitch. So it was supposed to be 9 stitches to 2 inches. This is not 9 stitches to 2 inches. So, in thinking about those numbers, this neckline really should be the wide neckline that I want it to be. It should really stretch out that far. And this will end up being bigger than what it says in the pattern, which isn't actually what I wanted because that happened last time. So I think I'm going to start over and I'm going to go up a full needle size. And just trust that my gauge when I'm actually working it is going to be spot on. And I'm going to stick with the numbers. And to do a flat and closed raglan, I'm going to do the knit front back slip. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to look. No worse than me having to sew up some of my bad yarn overs. And, you know, all you can do is really try. And try again, and we can always rip things out and knit them again. And half of what we're doing this for is not just the end result, it's the process. And don't you love this sweater? I don't have a clue what this is. I should go back. Amy Florence knit it. Yes, I bought it off of her D-stash. And it does fit a little oddly on the shoulders. And so I just let it fit how it's going to fit and just put it together because it is fabulous. It is so windy today. And riding Pinky, I mean, I had my knit cowl on that I had doubled up and I was fabulous. It was wonderful. I need to knit myself some fingerless gloves. And I'm not knitting fingers. I'm just going to knit thumb and then have it be tight here. I'm never knitting fingers. A thumb, sure, I'll try that. I am never knitting fingers. And I still have my polyester, feels like butter, Lion Brand sweater that I'm trying to get motivated to finish up. But I'm feeling stressed all of a sudden. I mean, it's Thanksgiving in like 2 weeks, and then it's Christmas. And it's not like I have a lot of people to give gifts to. Technically, I don't have to give gifts to anybody. None of us do. But I kind of want to just knit and produce a bunch of like cowls and hats and stuff and put all the big stuff on the back burner. But it's kind of the big stuff that I like knitting. I mean, yes, I like the pow of a little one in between, but I like knowing and digging into the sweater and the construction and is it working and what am I going to do? I have an idea, motivated by someone else's idea that I saw on Instagram, for making house slippers out of sock tubes. So that's been sitting there for a coon's age. I mean, what is the deal? Mojo seems to be crazy these days. And it just amazes me that there are other people out there and they just are so much more productive. I mean, I have put on a couple of games on my phone that I can play with the kids. I try not to play with them myself, but I have found myself in the evenings needing to just listen to something or watch something to veg out and not being able to see well enough to concentrate well enough. And that's frustrating, but it helps give me some patience for my mother. So everyone send a hello to Kitty. And there is a short update on my already once frogged sweater that now needs to be frogged again. But I keep telling myself, if I do it right, I will get what I want and I will wear it more. Look with your, not your eyes, look with your heart first, not your eyes. Be a blind person, look with your heart first, not your eyes. And that's all I got. That's all I got.